What's up, everybody? Welcome to PSI Love You XOXO episode 48. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the new face of video games for a few weeks longer. Blessing, Adeoye Jr.
Greg, I'm very tired today.
Junior.
I stayed up late last night. I was playing chess. I don't know if you heard about this. I've been very into playing chess lately.
Hey, you were also playing Fortnite with me, remember?
Yeah, but that was like until like 10:30.
That's late for you, though.
All right, guys.
Because you're like, oh, it's Sunday, I gotta go to bed.
That
Yeah,
when you
but
first off, I was there too. I don't know why I'm being excluded from the story. I was playing as well.
Wait, for real?
And then
Yeah.
You stopped playing and Joey joined. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No, Barry
then-
joined.
No.
That's what happened though, because Barry was in the group, and then like.
I mean, we were
I stopped
all in
playing
the,
it.
we were all in the kind of funny voice group on PS5. We were all chatting it up.
that's
Who
right.
was there? Who wasn't there? Who was playing? Who wasn't playing? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
But
Tim,
you
you
just
went
said
to
a
bed.
minute ago it did matter. Remember?
You went to
said
bed
that
early,
you weren't
all right?
included.
Well, you didn't include me in the story like I wasn't there. I was there. I was
I
doing
didn't remember
stuff.
you being there. The whole time?
And then you're right though, Kevin. Blessing said he was going to go to bed early.
Yeah.
And he
And
got
then
off.
I just
He had to do-
stayed up.
I think he actually started Phoenix.
I'm almost Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, you
So,
started Phoenix
yeah.
Rising, got beat by something because you stink at games, and you're like, I'm done, and you quit and left the voice chat.
Yeah, I quit the game, I quit the voice chat, left, turned off my PS5, and I was like, I'm going to go to bed. And then instead of going to bed, I stayed up and I played chess online, and I watched a Tim Rogers video, a 3-hour review of Pac-Man. Very good video. Highly recommend it.
Wait, for reals? 3-hour review of Pac-Man.
Yeah, I'm only about an hour and 10 minutes in.
You didn't even watch the full video.
It's a long. I'm not going to sit for
I'm
3
doing the
hours
math.
straight.
You went to bed at 11:30 and you're saying you're tired? Midnight, sorry.
No, I went to bed at like 1 a.m. Because like
Keep in mind,
Yeah,
Kevin,
if you-
this is the man. This Mr. Adeoye is the man who wouldn't commit to playing Fortnite with us a couple weeks ago at 10 p.m. on a Sunday because it was a school night. Here we find out at 3 a.m. though he's sitting there going, "Oh yeah, what
4 a.m.
about Blinky? What about the ghost? Tell me some
well,
more."
did you know that they all have different
fuck
behaviors?
no.
I wasn't
Yes.
aware of this.
You,
They're all
I know what the behaviors are.
How do you not
too.
know
How do you
anything?
not
This
know
is
that?
our history.
Because I just played Pac-Man. I didn't really think too hard about how the ghosts would move and how like a specific.
There's
ghost
one that
is
just
meant to
goes
be, like-
random. The pink one, I think, goes random.
Because like one of them I don't know them by name, but like one of them will basically like aim for 4
so
like,
you weren't
pixels
concentrating
ahead
when
of
you
you.
were watching the video.
Well, there's like 4 of them. I'm not gonna memorize the Pac-Man. I got a limited space in this mind palace of mine.
That's clear to everyone.
Kevin. I got a limited space. First of all, Kevin, I don't like that tone. I will drive. I will find your address first of all, and then I will drive, and then
You've
I
been
don't
to my
know,
home.
I'll figure out what to do.
You've been
I
there.
have been to your home. I have been to your home.
Probably get beaten by chess again by my wife.
I did get beaten by her. In chess.
I like that's made
I'm
its
very
way on
disgraced.
every show that we've done.
All 2 of them.
People need to know. And that's the biggest thing about you, Blessing, is that people need to know.
What does this mean?
Nathan Showcat writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, just like you can, to be part of the show, and says, I know recording will start soon, so this may or not make it in time, but this is of the utmost importance. Greg, the people want to make sure there are no shenanigans going on with Blessing's trophies. Unless there's a game which is under embargo, parentheses, in which case it's totally understandable, end parentheses, one's trophy list should remain viewable for the world to see. What are you hiding, Mr. New Face of video games? That is
Why
all.
does
Thank
it
you for
What
the
are you
matter?
comment.
hiding? What are you hiding?
Why do people?
We have this
Because
entire.
I'm
Think
not
about
a
it this
trophy
way.
whore.
You're the one who, yeah, no, we already know. You say it all the time. You love to just rub it in our faces. Trophies don't matter to you. You don't care about trophies. You take them or leave them. No big deal for trophies. So what? Just show us what you got. Let us keep up with you. Let us look at Merc City 64 on PSN profiles and see what's up. Because I'm there right now. Nothing. Oh, no trophies here. This profile is probably private. What are you hiding, Blessing?
What are you hiding, my dude? What do you got hidden in there?
I just don't know why it matters. Why do you guys want to see what I'm playing?
It's the
Like, what?
meta of it. It's
no,
the meta
it's how
of it.
you're playing it is what we want to see, not what you're playing. We don't
Oh,
care
that's
about
like
what.
an invasion of privacy, isn't it? Like think about that.
I mean, I guess if you got a lot to hide, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I mean, just remember you're in the same boat
Honestly,
as
I
Donald
think what
Trump.
happened was when I set up my PS5, they like ask you a bunch of questions. Of, Do you want your focus thing or whatever? And I think I set all mine to private because I was in preview mode, and I just never switched it. And I don't feel like going into the menus and switching it. And I realized that like now that I have everything hidden, there's like a certain privacy that I get with that feels kind of nice. I
You
like
gave that up.
I like being mysterious.
You gave that up when you came to Kind of Funny. You gave out the right for me to give out your phone number on the air.
Yep.
For people
Yep.
to look at your trophies.
He said
Wait,
that.
did
And
I-
host meet and greets at your house.
Yep.
All right.
I
That
don't
was
know if
part
I
of the
did
contract.
The first one or the last one. Also, your glasses. I don't know if you know this. They're like yellow, like the
Yeah.
the
Yeah, they're
glasses.
gunners. They're gunners.
So
cool.
I'm thank you. Yeah. You know, I have you're not off the hook. I like when you distract me. You're not off the hook. So the week before Thanksgiving, so not last week, but the week before, I guess I don't know what it is. Something has shifted in my setup, and I think it's one of those. Maybe I'm sitting too close to this screen. I have the color of my lights here yellow, like a more golden sun thing. But I gave myself wicked eye strain. And so
really?
I've been like coaxing myself back. Like I've been trying to do less, which is of course impossible since my entire job is looking at the camera and the lights and the screens. So I took Thanksgiving as easy as I could. And then it's been better and I've been using some eye drops. But then, yeah, today, just to be safe, I'm doing this. I ordered, of course, Gunners. I've had these forever and ever and ever and ever. I think Colin used to make fun of me in the old days in the spare bedroom when I used them under the hot lights. Yep. But I ordered a pair of movement glasses like Andy has because those are more like not as obvious. But yeah, I don't want to. Can't fuck up these guys. You know what I mean?
Is that why you're wearing the Junes shirt? Because they go with the glasses? Because that's like the first thing I noticed, that you're wearing yellow on yellow and it looks very stylish.
Thank you. No, it's just because earlier today we did in review and I wore these, and of course Nick made fun of me as he often does. And so then I was chilly and I went in there to get a sweatshirt and I was like, oh, this kind of looks this kind of goes together.
Oh, so it was a fashion choice. That's cool.
It was gonna be a sweatshirt no matter what, and then I was like, oh, Persona 4 Golden sweatshirt, why not?
Because it goes with the yellow
podcast. It all lines up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, topic of the show.
All right, yeah, let's get it. We're having a great show. I forget what we were talking about before.
You
if you didn't know. No, I'm doing it right now. So about to lead
Sorry,
into
he
it.
said topic
And what
of the
did you
show.
say? And what did you say when the thing when it did the pronunciation at the end? You said something.
Jedi. Jedi.
Are you saying it like Watto, or are you saying it like the Emperor?
Emperor.
Oh, okay.
Kevin is doing this new thing now where before any show starts, he says something super random to throw the host off.
Just with
And
Bless.
part of me gets pissed off by it. The other part of me respects it.
You like it, Bless. It got you to start the show with a little smile on. Rewind. Go watch the show.
Did.
He wasn't smiling before that. He was like, and then afterwards.
And Kevin, shout out to your solidarity for wearing glasses with me and Blessing today.
Hey, I started playing Fortnite and it's burning my eyes. I've been playing with Bear and telling him my eyes are burning.
Kevin, you and me are the same age. It's just our bodies are starting to fail us. You know, they're starting to turn against us.
8 years older than me, I believe.
That doesn't sound right. What are you again?
I'm 30.
Yeah, see, me too. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is PS I Love You XOXO. Each and every week, me and Blessing, and usually Kevin, come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. You like that for some reason, so you go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where, of course, you can be part of the show. You can write in with your own questions. You can give us your PSN profiles. You can now submit your photo mode challenges for the week. And of course, so much more. You can get the show ad-free. You can get it with the exclusive post show. You can watch things like Bless Way and Greg Way. You call it Bless Up, though. You screwed me up. You did, you said Bless Way though in January, and that was the
like
end
week 1, and I changed it about week 2.
I can't do
nobody's recovered.
We're simple people. Have you put up Bless Up yet?
No, I just recorded it earlier today, and so it should be up either today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta get mine up. Of course, enough of that though. Most importantly, you get the show ad-free. Remember, of course, that's patreon.com/kindoffunnygames for a brand spanking new episode of PS I Love You XOXO. However, if you have no bucks tossed our way, no big deal. Oh, you can watch live, just like J6, Eric, and Rex or Zor are. If you don't want to toss us any bucks though, no big deal. YouTube.com/kindoffunnygames. Podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday morn for an episode that's never been heard before, unless you're one of the patrons getting the post show, getting it live, doing all that jazz. Housekeeping for you. That was a good one. I like a good pregnant pause, you know?
That was good, because I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, is it something that I'm supposed to do? Like,
no, you got nothing there. No, you got nothing. Housekeeping for you. Be like our Patreon producers, Blackjack, Tom Bach, ALWT Gaming. Kevin is the best Christmas elf. Jeffrey, P Long, Sancho West Gaming, and James Hastings. Real quick, record scratch. You might be listening to this on Tuesday going, wait a second, Greg. I gave you money to be a Patreon producer in December. Why am I not part of the show? Remember, we record this in November. This is still November. It's one of the rare ones where the things cross over. I assure you nothing has gone wrong. We know you're a Patreon producer. You will be referenced next episode. This week, we're sponsored by Kind of Funny vs. Galactus and Fortnite. We'll talk about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the topic of the show. So, Blessing, I, of course, like to give you a little bit of shit at the beginning of this episode, right? I like to come on here and tell you, hey, make your trophies public. Let us come in your house. Let us come over to your house and throw a meet and greet. Give out your phone number on the air. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely not.
I do this historically from a place of love. This week, it comes from a place of great anger and envy.
Mm.
If you may or may not recall, weeks ago now, we said, hey, it'll be a fun segment. Let's go through the PlayStation 5 launch lineup and let us make a bet on who can get the most Metacritic scores right or closest. And then we'll go from there. So we set this up called Predicting the PS5 Metacritic. We went through the launch lineup, guessed the Metacritics for it. It was, for the first time in forever, not a Price is Right rules. It was just the closest. Whoever could get the closest to it got the point. If you got it on the nose, you got 2 points. We alternated picks as we went through them. It was going to be then for this episode, November 30th / December 1st. On the line is a Popeyes chicken sandwich. And as you know, Blessing, I'm all about the pomp and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to put on a show for everybody and do this different stuff. I will start from the top saying you beat me without mercy. It's not even close. It starts hard and it just gets worse, where we said Spider-Man Miles Morales on the PlayStation 5. What's the predictions for Metacritics? I said 92. You said 85. I knew I was going high, but I thought I got a shot here. The actual 85. You got it on the fucking nose. It's 85 as of right now. So that's 2 points for you. Then we had Demon's Souls Remastered. Blessing says 90. I say 91. Actual 92.
Whoa.
I get a point. I don't get shut
There
out.
you go.
I get on the board. Good enough. And then here's where the bloodbath ensues. Bug Snacks. I say 80. Blessing says 79. The actual PS5 Bug Snacks Metacritic is 74, making it 3-1. Blessing. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Blessing says 83. I say 79. It's at an 86 on PlayStation 5 right now.
People are liking that game.
Blessing 4. Greg 1. Astro's Playroom. I swing for the fucking fences here. I get nuts. I say this game won't be reviewed because I'm thinking of it's going to be more of a tech demo, similar to the Astro packing with PS4. You say 83. Actual Metacritic fucking score, 80 goddamn 3. That means Blessing has 6 points. I have 1 point. Godfall. I say 74. Blessing says 68. The actual is a 61. Blessing goes up 7-1. And then Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Blessing says 81. I say 84. It's actually 80. Blessing wins 8-1.
Greg, where did it go wrong? What happened?
From hiring you. I think hiring you is where I screwed this up. You know what I mean? Like we should not have brought you on. I am flabbergasted at how much I was trounced on this.
Do any of these in particular surprise you?
Yeah, they do. That was the guessing game from it, especially for a year where we hadn't played anything. I think it would have been interesting if we could have done the usual 2020. If there would have been a more normal E3 or PlayStation presentation or whatever, where we would have gone and actually gotten hands-on with stuff, right? Where, granted, some of these games we had like Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, we'd played a bit of, but you still don't know how that's going to come together on, right? So to take the look at them, right? Like, I thought Miles would be higher than an 85, which again, as when I said 92, I remember you being like, dude, you're nuts. Remember Metacritic? Yes, I do suck. Thank you, Kevin. Remember that it does, skew downward for the most part in terms of an overall score, right? Like, even when you're getting 10s from IGN or 9.5s from IGN, you're still ending up with an 80 something, high 80s. So coming out with a 92 seemed aggressive, but I still thought it had a shot at it being a launch title and everything, Insomniac learned from the first. And again, I think it's far and away better than Spider-Man, closer to that than an 85, but you played it and you nailed it right on the fucking nose, which is so goddamn impressive. Beyond that, I think, I thought it was interesting. Bug Snacks was as low as I thought it was. And I don't mean interesting from where we predicted it. Excuse me. I mean interesting now, a couple weeks after the PlayStation 5 launch.
Yeah,
that Bug Snacks is at a 74 right now. And again, worth pointing out, remember, these are PlayStation 5 review scores. There's fewer of them. Sometimes I saw PlayStation 4 ones or PC ones were different because I think there's more reviews in there than there were for just a PlayStation 5 one. So a 74 for Bugsnack. And again, of course, full disclosure, Jen did marketing PR for that game. Not that that's what's making me say Bugsnax, I think, is closer to an 80 than it is a 74. But like, I would have thought, somewhere in the high sevens for that more than a 74 from where it all fell out. But honestly, the real shocker I thought for me was Assassin's Creed. Where like again, I think that might be a pooling thing of how many there are, but to have Assassin's Creed at an 86, that's really fucking high.
Yeah, because I think the reason I came down on 83 was because either Odyssey or Origins came in at an 83. Like I think it was Origins 81, Odyssey 83.
Yeah.
And I figure like, yeah, if they're coming off of those games, right? Like you imagine that they're gonna, in a similar way for Miles Morales, they're gonna take the learnings of their previous game. I figured that would be the same thing for Assassin's Creed.
But see, that's what's fascinating about it, I think, is, and I can pull it up, I guess. But like, it was the idea that I was doing the same thing on the original scorecards here, which is going to be all jacked up because how I went and got it. Which episode was that? That was like in September, I think. We're gonna go to September 21st.
4 weeks ago? Was it September?
I don't know. I remember today when I was clicking through all my old documents to find it. It was done on episode 39, which is September 28th.
Wow.
Time flies by, buddy.
Yeah.
I had done that. So like, you're right with it, right? Where Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right? Origins had an 81 on Metacritic at the time. Odyssey had an 83. So you guessed 83. I guessed 79. But what I didn't take into account for, and I don't think either of us did, was again, the amount of PlayStation 5 reviews there'd be versus everything else. Because right now on Metacritic, doing the fill-in, right, just of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 86. However, that's PlayStation 5. Xbox One Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 82. PlayStation 4 Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 80. See, it's when there's it seems like when there's more, not doesn't seem it's true. I think when there's more reviews, that's when you see it actually start dipping because there's just so many more opinions involved. When I played it, I think the opposite way, where I was thinking more that there'd be fewer reviews, so scores would be in a different spot than they were here. Or no, I'm sorry. I was thinking there'd be the normal amount of reviews. And that's what threw me off there. Yeah. What about you? What are you surprised by?
I mean, Godfall being so low kind of surprised me having played it. Because I get it having a 61 on Metacritic, though I probably would have gone a bit higher, but I've also not like gone to end game in that game, right? Like I'm still fairly early in me playing that game, but just playing it, right? Like I think the combat's pretty fine. Like it is fun at times, and I think it's a beautiful game. There's so many things about that game that works well enough, like on a technical level, though creatively, like a lot of it seems creatively bankrupt. And so I get
creatively bankrupt. Damn, scathing.
I get like Godfall falling in like in terms of that, but I figure like the parts of it that do work and the parts of it that are good probably would have carried it to at least like a 70.
I remember that was the one we were like the most in the dark for, right? Where we're like, there's nothing going Metacritic wise. It's just dev counterplay games in terms of what I had for background on it. And so, yeah, like all we knew, right, was that it looked pretty and it was like, you know, this slasher shooter or slasher.
They don't want to call it games as a service.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, yeah, we were too bullish on that, especially, I mean, coming in and seeing what it actually was, even though, like you're saying, maybe you would be higher than a 61.
Yeah. Demon Souls being so high is a pleasant surprise too. Like that's one that I wasn't expecting. Like we both got it like just a tad bit low, but coming in at a 92 is very impressive. And I would have predicted that it would have the highest Metascore. But I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have predicted that a 92. Like that's
remember, yeah, this is the arguments we had on the episode, right? Where Demon Souls PlayStation 3 is at an 89 on Metacritic right now.
Yeah.
So you're coming in and out kicking the coverage there as well. Now, so I owe you a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Yes.
I gotta get you a Popeye's chicken sandwich. Fine, whatever. You tell me when you want it. I'll have it DoorDash to you or whatever. You'll be happy.
Hey, you buy me one, I'll go get it for him.
That's fair enough. Kev Dash better than DoorDash. Yeah, exactly. However, I would be fine with that. I wouldn't be as grumpy and envious probably if this doesn't come with also just what is the killing blow of the kind of funny PS I Love You XOXO Fantasy Critic League. If you remember,
oh yeah,
at the beginning in January, we of course set up kindoffunny.com/PS League. This is using fantasycritic.games. It's a place where you go and basically fantasy football for the year, but instead of football players, you're drafting video games. You have a specific budget that you get to work into to buy and trade and make moves and stuff like that. We did it, of course, with Jonathan Dornbush from IGN, Gio Corsi from Predator Hunting Grounds, Ilphonic, and then Callie Plaguey from GameSpot. And so, wait, is it Plague? Did I screw that up? I did screw it up, didn't I?
Callie Plague. No, it's Callie Plaguey, I think.
Did I get it right? Okay.
Yeah, you got it right.
I'm always terrified of saying Callie's name wrong. And then I do it. Anyways, we invited them over. Everybody did it. We went through, we did the draft and stuff. And then real quick, everybody stopped paying attention except me and Blessing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was the thing where there were still some moves being made by Dornbush early on, but then
Dornbush filled his in. Here's the thing with Dornbush.
He's dead.
There was partway through the year where me and you realized that we could take off games that were not going to be released. It would have like, I think we also had like one free drop for an upcoming game in the year. And I don't think that was ever established with Dornbush. And so Dornbush filled in his league, I think halfway through the year. It was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Whereas in August, I think I was still like, okay, well, this game got delayed or this game's coming out. And so
you were still super active on it. And it was that thing where I'd usually forget like a moron and then do something too late, but it was no big deal. It's been an interesting thing because I had rushed out early with Last of Us Part 2 being my number one pick. I got way ahead of everybody and had this commanding lead, even though you knew that would dribble up. But it was you making all the little moves that it was like, oh man, Blessing's giving me a run for my money. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all nets out when we actually get to the other side. Now, there's two things, of course, that happen in there that are interesting. Number one, if you remember, I took a chance and bet on Carrion. I had Carrion added to my team, even though it's technically not on PlayStation. But I made the proclamation as a bold player that would, in fact, make the hop before the end of the year. I'm giving up on that, so I can't even count the 7 points I got off of that. What I talked about before was that I got confused and tried to pick up, what was it, Amnesia? Is that the one I wanted? I was trying to pick up one of
Remothered, Broken Porcelain, trying to pick up something else.
Yeah, I tried to pick up the other horror game that everybody was excited for, and I instead got confused and got Remothered, Broken Porcelain, which lost me 25 points. Now, here's the thing. I lost 25 points on Remothered. Okay, whatever. Even if I had those 25 points, Blessing beat the living shit out of me. Right now, my list is this. The Last of Us Part 2, Minecraft Dungeons, Bloodroots, Carrion, Bugsnax, Star Wars Squadrons, Hyperscape, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2, Sackboy A Big Adventure, Dirt 5, Remothered Broken Porcelain, and then I have Overwatch 2 on here as if I have a shot of that actually happening or whatever. That's my Hail Mary. And then I have a blank spot I can still try to play if I wanted to. But like, meanwhile, Blessing's team,
like it's Twin Mirror. Like, I'm trying to think of other games that are still coming out this year. When's that Prince of Persia game coming out?
That's next year. That's next year. It's
unfortunate.
Meanwhile, Blessing's team looks like this: Marvel's Iron Man VR. All right. Then Neo 2, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Black Ops Cold War, Mortal Shell, Ghost Runner, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, Astro's Playroom, Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, Dark Pictures Anthology Little Hope, Demon Souls 2020. So it's one of those where I think I was going for, I don't even know what I was going for. I thought Last of Us Part 2 was going to be like this big bonanza hit, but you have so many 10s and 15s on the board. Because if you haven't paid attention, the idea is that this goes by OpenCritic. For every point you have on OpenCritic above 70, you get a point for your fantasy team to come up with your totals. So for instance, Neo 2 on Blessing's team has an 85, meaning he gets 15 points. So, Last of Us has a 93, so I got 25 points off of that. But to go by Blessings, right, he's got 15 for Neo 2, 10 for Fall Guys, 11 for Ghost Runner, 15 for Spider-Man, 15 for Crash, 14 for Astro, and then 23 for Demon Souls. He also has no minus points. If you dip below 70, you lose points. So Hyperscape lost me 5 points, and then Remothered lost me 25 points. So Blessing putting on a clinic on this, and then as if that wasn't fucking enough, if that wasn't insulting enough, that Blessing currently has 124 fantasy points to my 70. My paltry 70. And remember, too, I was talking shit about Jonathan Dornbush. Jonathan Dornbush had a 61 and still has Immortals Phoenix Rising numbers to post. Not that that's going to save him and get him to me, but it could. If that wasn't insulting enough, Blessing still has fucking Cyberpunk in play. His number one pick for the fucking fantasy draft still hasn't come out and been scored yet.
So you think I'm gonna win this? Do you think
I'd say you have this in the bag. The only thing that could possibly get in your way is, do you think Cyberpunk 2077 underdelivers?
I mean, in the context of this fantasy draft, it would have to get like a 5 on Metacritic in order to do any decent damage to me.
Sure.
But divorced from this fantasy critic, right? Like, can Cyberpunk underdeliver? Like, obviously, like the answer is yes. Like anything can underdeliver. Will it? I think is an interesting question, and I don't know. Like, I'm very excited for Cyberpunk. The closer and closer we've been getting to the game, the more and more I've been looking forward to it. I'm still bummed out that the next gen versions won't be available at launch.
Man.
That is like the biggest sting for me in that game, because I would love to play that game in a smooth 60 FPS, or at least like with higher res and all the effects and ray tracing and all that stuff. And Cyberpunk is Cyberpunk, so it's still gonna be fun. Hopefully, playing that game on PS4. But that's a bit of a bummer to me. But divorced from that, I don't know. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it, but I think that's mostly based off of, one, it's in a setting that hits with me better than Witcher, right? Like, Witcher is cool, Witcher is awesome, all that stuff, but I'm not really a fantasy person. And Cyberpunk, setting wise, vibes with me more. It reminds me a lot of Deus Ex, and I absolutely love Deus Ex: Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. It skews more towards that direction, but then also just has a different kind of RPG vibe in terms of it being this first person, choice driven, choose your own path kind of thing, as opposed to The Witcher 3. Like, it speaks to me on all those regards. But again, like, I don't know, like, anything can really go wrong when it comes to a big ambitious game like this.
Yeah, it's fascinating, right? I feel like, we're definitely pivoting away from things. So congratulations on winning everything, and you're fucking amazing.
Hey, you never know, man.
Whatever. No, shut up. All right, they do know.
Cyberpunk could be terrible.
But no, we're even divorced from the points, because again, I'd have to have a complete collapse for you to lose this thing. Like, I'm fascinated to see what happens with Cyberpunk, because we had talked about it on a multitude of the shows of, man, like, where's your excitement level at? And I think with PlayStation 5 and next gen and Spider-Man and all these things right in our faces, it was easy not to be like, oh yeah, Cyberpunk's gonna be great when we get it. I'm not, I'm fine. I can wait. But now I find myself in that always shitty position we all find ourselves in as gamers, where I'm trying stuff over the weekend. I'm just like, this isn't hitting. I don't want to play this. I want to play Cyberpunk. I want to do this. I was having the incredibly nerdy moment the other week where I was walking with Jen through the park, and she's talking about life and family and real shit. She's like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, I'm thinking that Cyberpunk's going to be the first RPG I ever actually role play in. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I feel like when I start these other games, I start and I'm going to be Superman. I'm going to be Supergirl. I'm going to be Taylor Swift. I'm just going to play and do all the right things and be this, straight cut character. But as we've talked about with Cyberpunk, it seems like such a gray area of what's going on in Night City and what you're doing. And no matter where you start from, you're in a shitty place where you're trying to survive and trying to do whatever you need to. And so, like, we had just watched Wall Street. And so I was like, this sounds incredibly dorky, but I'm thinking about naming. I know I'm going to start Corpo, right? In terms of my Cyberpunk backstory. I think I'm going to start Corpo, and I think I'm going to name him Bud Fox, who's Charlie Sheen's character in Wall Street, the Michael Douglas movie or whatever. And I'm like, something about doing that. And I'm not that I need to then replicate everything Charlie Sheen would have done or whatever in fucking Wall Street, but it gives me this idea of like, I actually want to try to play a character, at which point, and here's another level of fucking nerdy I've never talked about. I thought about coming home and downloading a like Dungeons and Dragons character sheet and like filling that out, and then actually having that like try to like, decide how I handle situations and what I do for people. Like, because even like watching I think it was the second E3 demo where they did go Corpo, and then you run into a lady in a suit at the end, and there was like a whole thing of like, tell her to fuck off or do this, blah, blah. And I'm like, I could actually see myself doing the things to get in her favor while still trying to screw her over in the grand scheme of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so like, that's a weird, I don't think about my Western RPGs that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you ever played an RPG that way? Or like, is there an RPG of a similar scope and sense of Cyberpunk that you've played that you've really enjoyed?
Well, yeah. I mean, like for sure, I love Fallout and stuff like that, right? But I feel like even that, and granted, like I'm talking about a game I've never played when I talk about Cyberpunk. I've seen demos, you've gotten to play it. I may be giving it too much, but I feel like there's just so much more area to explore for characters. You know what I mean? Whereas like I love Mass Effect, but like, sure, I gave Commander Shepard a background and chose what I wanted to do, and I chose to be the Fem Shep, and I did these things. But then it was back to my argument that Infamous always was, of like, do you want to be Paragon or Renegade? And it was like, well, once I've picked one of them, don't I only want to be that? And I know Renegade wasn't bad, but it did start to disfigure your face and shit, right? And so it was like, it's a binary choice to me of once you make the choice, you've committed that you're either a good guy or a bad guy. And it's how Infamous was, Infamous 2 flips it on its head at the final choice. It did the same thing in Jedi Knights, the Old Republic, right? Yeah, Jedi Knights, the Old Republic.
KOTOR, yeah.
A game I love from BioWare, right? But it was the same idea. Are you going light side or dark side? And it's like, well, once I start down the path towards any of those sides, why would I ever change? You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? Whereas I feel, again, you could tell me if I'm wrong, I feel more of like playing people against each other is possible in this. Saying what you want, saying what a character would want to hear in a situation doesn't fuck you over saying something else to somebody else and like trying to play these relationships and keep them all together. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think that's how it feels. That's even a different vibe than what The Witcher did, because I felt The Witcher was very much, once you established who Geralt was, that's how I wanted to play as him.
Yeah, like Geralt is his own character. And the thing I like about The Witcher that I think is going to reflect in Cyberpunk a lot is the fact that for so many of the choices that you make as Geralt, there will be multiple sides that you can totally see why you would go whichever way, like in terms of the ways that certain quests would play out. Like they did a really good job in terms of navigating that gray area with all these moral decisions and trying to make you struggle a bit with where you want to go. And Cyberpunk seems like it's going for a lot of that, but like less so in the way of in The Witcher. It's like, oh, but if you screw over this person's child gets murked, or if you save the child, then you doom this whole village, right? Like that sort of thing. As opposed to that, Cyberpunk very much seems like hey, everybody kind of is in it for themselves, and like you kind of have to, your role here is basically to figure out how to navigate these streets of Night City and figure out like how to fend for yourself and how to play your own character and exist within this city that is filled with corruption and like weirdness and crime and all this stuff. All that stuff kind of appeals to me. I think that's even part of why I like the fact that the game is first person, which was a thing that when it was revealed, I know a lot of people were like, "Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that." I like it in the sense that I just like the fact that you're playing as your own character as opposed to a Geralt or a even if you are creating your own character, right? And it's a third person game. There's something about that that still feels like you are in someone else's shoes as opposed to your own shoes.
Sure.
And like having this game be first person, so choice driven, and so much about being in there and like doing your own thing and make your own choices, I find to be something that I'm craving right now, which is again like why I can't wait for it. Because I'm with you that there are games that I'm playing now where I'm like, oh, I could just be playing Cyberpunk. Like Immortals Phoenix Rising is a good example of being about 6 hours into that game this weekend and thinking about like oh man, it could be okay. I could see myself getting into some of these puzzles if I keep playing, and like I there's this whole open world ahead of me, but I know in the back of my mind that right now I'm not getting the experience I want from this game, and there's another game over the horizon that I could just save myself for.
Yeah, I think, you said a lot there I want to jump off of, but to come straight from Immortals, it was the exact same thing for me. I mean, I know we'll talk about it and what we've been playing, but I'm 5 hours in, and it is that thing of like, man, gameplay's good. Like it's cool. There's a ton of shit to unlock and upgrade and do all this different stuff for, and it's Ubisoft mixed, a Ubisoft game like I always talk about, mixed with a comedic story and all this different stuff. But it's that thing of like, but it's just terrible timing of not only am I'm, hopefully a week away from starting Cyberpunk and being obsessed with that, but I'm also still 30, 40 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And Assassin's Creed Odyssey does a lot of what Immortals does, just in a different way. But it's the same idea with the map and the collectibles and the thing. And it's that thing of, well, I've already put 35 hours into that game. Why wouldn't I keep playing that if I haven't done everything there? Why wouldn't I, go through and complete all that shit in that? But even then, when I would go back to that's what I did is I'd play Immortals, be like, I should play Odyssey or Valhalla. Sorry, start up Valhalla, and then I'd play for a little bit and be like, but this isn't Cyberpunk, because it's compared apples to apples of what we think Cyberpunk's going to be. Like Odyssey is that exact thing of, or God damn it, Valhalla is that same thing of like, oh, Eivor is Eivor. Like Eivor is a character who I don't really connect with. Like I love the combat and I love the skill trees and shit like that. But I don't vibe with Eivor how I vibe with Cassandra. So then it becomes that Assassin's Creed is just a game where it is just kill some stuff, get the skill points, invest, get to the next point. And, you go on these quests, and to what I was talking about earlier, like there's, not clear, but there's, right and wrong. Do you want to side with this guy who's got like the scars and is doing all the crazy, like yelling and shit? Like, probably not. I understand what he's doing, but I am a Viking, but I don't feel like Eivor is this throw caution to the wind Viking. At least, it's like, it's not the same thing as if I know if I make a choice there that like my brother's going to get pissed at me and this is going to go off and off this way. Whereas like Cyberpunk feels like make the choice and see what happens kind of thing and see what the actual ramifications are going to be 3 hours from there.
Yeah. And like, even I booted up Assassin's Creed Valhalla for like 10 minutes before I was like, okay, no, I'm not in the mood for this. And I like quickly switched to another game. But even within those 10 minutes, it seems like Eivor is a character who has a past. Like Eivor is a character that is coming from something and you're piggybacking off of that. And I think that's the really cool thing with the life paths in Cyberpunk, where you can choose, okay, I'm going to be a corpo, or, oh, I'm going to be a nomad, right? Or, oh, I'm going to be a street kid. Like you choose what your past is, which I think is very important to how you're going to approach being this character and being like, I know like it is a named, quote unquote, named character, the name being V. But like, that seems to be the only thing that's really pre-established, and you take that and you take your life path and you just roll with it, which I think is very cool, because you mentioned how you want to play as a corpo because you want to emulate what you watched in Wall Street. Whereas for me, like I look at it and I did the corpo path in my preview and I was like, okay, this is cool, but it seems very driven by manipulating like the pieces and money and like talking to the right people and all that stuff, which is cool and awesome. But I think I'm probably gonna go the nomad path because I just like just thematically I just like the idea of, hey, I'm just this person and I roam the lands, I do my own thing, I'm a loner, I play by my own style, and like I'll talk to people and interact with people when it is being used to either to my benefit or being used to better a situation. But I'm in this world and I'm trusting nobody. There's something about that appeals to me in this specific game. And I just like the fact that I can play a whole RPG, like a whole 40 to 175 hour maybe RPG in that fashion. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think that's what speaks to me about it, where it's like I look at Nomad and I look at Street Kid and it's just like, oh, that doesn't vibe with it. Like I like the corporate espionage. I like being on the inside. I like having a fucking weird suit, right? And I'm trying to go that way about it. And it's, I think you nail it. What you're saying of like Eivor has a backstory. Eivor has had a life, and granted, so has V. No matter where we pick up with him or her or they. But back to the Dungeons and Dragons sheet, I'm tinkering with doing it. The problem is I'm not sure how much is going to be filled in, right? When you go in and give yourself my own backstory, but then like something I have to do in the game contradicts it or whatever.
There has to be like a Cyberpunk tool that somebody's going to make. It might not be out now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but somebody eventually will for sure. But like, I feel like that'd be, I don't know. I feel like I want to tackle this game in a way I don't tackle most games. And I was thinking, when I was doing Persona 5 Royal at the beginning of the year, I was keeping the diary, and that was very specifically like, I know that I'm going to get be pushed off this path again by other games I need to review. But when I inevitably get back to it, I want to make sure I'm not completely lost. I actually was thinking about maybe trying to do some kind of like another diary or vlog series or some shit like that of actually talking about what I'm doing in the game and why I'm doing it and how I feel about characters and shit like that.
Yeah, that'd be, I mean, you say that, like, I would love to do or maybe it's a segment on the podcast, right? Like maybe we do like a PS I Love You Cyberpunk talk segment or something along those lines, because I think that would be a fascinating and fun way to play this specific type of game. Though I want to ask you, right, like, is there any way you think this game, I guess, doesn't live up to expectations in general, but more specifically to your expectations?
100%. Like, I don't, I think that like the way we're talking about it and even the way I'm framing it and the way I'm talking about, like doing character sheets and all this other cool shit, like, yeah, that all sounds well and good, but what do we get when we get it and it barely runs on PlayStation 4? You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing, is like, I'm right there with you. I'm like, God, it sucks that the next gen thing isn't available, even though they waited. But have they gotten it to run well on PlayStation 4? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, why aren't people playing this game right now? Why? It's a gigantic game and like people don't have copies of it for review yet. That's weird. Like, there's a bunch of stuff, and I mean that could just be totally normal in spoilers and leaks, but like we've seen it, Street Day be broken in a few different places. Like, I don't know. Like it's, you know, we've all done this long enough and played games long enough to know that you can never say never when it comes to the video game industry. So like, I don't think that CD Projekt Red, who has nailed it for so long and knows what they're doing and know what the expectations are, would get this far into it and be launching a game where they're like, oh fuck, this is not going to work. This is not going to do what it's going to do. But what is going to happen? And then also, what are the expectations? Again, I'm talking about journaling and doing this content and shit. I've never even played the fucking game. Like, what about when I do boot it up, play for 5 hours, and I'm like, ooh, you know what? This is not for me. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the downside of knowing so little. As somebody who's played it, do you think that could be the possible turnoff? Like, because I feel like when it comes to Western RPGs, you and I are aligned, right? Like, you talk about Fallout 4 and Fallout 3, and like, those were games I fucking dug and platinumed Fallout 4, right? And loved Fallout 3. And like, I feel like coming off of that, and like even the way we're talking about characters, the fact that you're excited about it and have actually played it, I feel like, okay, cool, it should be fine.
Yeah, and I think I am mostly excited about it because of CD Projekt Red, even more so than my own preview. Because my preview was fun, right? It was a good preview, but again, like I only played like 3 to 4 hours of it, and that was also via streaming it online as opposed to playing it natively. And so when it came to action stuff, that was always a thing of, man, I think the shooting feels good, but also like, you know, I have this element of lag, and so I kind of have to make up for that in my mind and figure out where I stand with that. But with all that stuff taken into account, like I'm excited for Cyberpunk coming off of The Witcher 3 and seeing it put in a setting that I care about more. But then
100%.
also, like during my preview, getting to the point where the world starts to open up and walking outside and like seeing like a sushi stand, right? Like a food stand where somebody's making sushi and walking over and like looking down and being like, oh yeah, this seems very well realized. Or walking to a bar and seeing all this going on and being like, yeah, no, this seems like a world. Like this world actually feels filled with personality and character, and like a lot of technically impressive animation and like great art direction and all that stuff. Like it seems like a fantastically produced game in terms of budget and scope and all that stuff, that I guess for me just naturally entices me because I like looking at shiny new things. Beyond that though, like there are so many when we talk about expectations in terms of Cyberpunk, right? Like I guess for me there's just so many things going into it that I'm like, yeah, no, it's going to take a lot for me to either get turned off by it or be let down by it, even though I feel like my expectations are pretty high for it at this point, because again, I'm coming into it from loving games like Fallout, loving games like Deus Ex, you know, seeing how good Witcher 3 was, and playing it and being like, yeah, okay, I could see where this can go down. Like there are certain things that I didn't love about the preview, and that was mainly like the
detective mode thing, right?
Yeah, the detective mode, mind something, mind melding, like that stuff. I was like, all right, cool. Hopefully this isn't a large part of the game, and I fingers crossed, I don't think it will be. Like I imagine in total it'll probably be like maybe an hour of mind melding throughout the game. Hopefully, maybe there's way more. Maybe you do that on every mission. But like as long as that stuff is few and far between, like there are gonna be those things. As long as like the game has brain dance, thank you. As long as the game has a good story and keeps up that level of quality, then I think I'll be good to go. And I think I think you'll like it. Like going off of the fact that I think we like the same RPGs. Like there's nothing about it that sticks out to me as like a whoa. Like there's certain stuff in terms of like depictions of certain characters that I've seen people talk about. And I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely see that, and I hope they tackle that stuff well. But like on a grand scope, right? Like zooming out and looking at it, I'm like, no, this seems like this seems like I'm gonna have a blast with it.
Yeah, that's the hope. And I mean, you know, even there, you're saying the same stuff I am, where it's like, or that I feel, right? Where The Witcher was so much fun for the 35 hours I played of it, 30 hours, but then it was just like, this just ain't my world. Like it just isn't my jam, right? This like fantasy olden times thing, like that's not what I want. Whereas Cyberpunk being a, you know, far future or whatever, near future, you know, technological mashed up with society, like everything about that sounds a cooler world that I want to exist in, and I want to go see the different things, and I want to investigate the different buildings and characters and side missions and see how they all net together and how that actually feels as a game.
Yeah. That said, I could see this game also being a Red Dead Redemption 2, where people play it and they're like, this is fantastically produced and has scope and budget and all those things, but then also the either it feels archaic or feels too much like a game from 2015 because CD Projekt Red is taking all the things they learned from Witcher 3, which I don't think that'll end up being the case, but it could be that. It could be, hey, they did way too much in a way that makes the game feel overscoped and it just doesn't deliver on that. Like I can see those things being the case, but
100%.
again, like those are the things that are beyond my like my view, like
our purview. Yeah, and I think
purview,
that's the thing they're talking about, right? Where it's like we're definitely talking about both our wishes and fears for this thing, and I think that comes from not knowing what it's going to be and what it's going to feel like and where you're going to go and what it does feel like after. I think for me, it's always the staying power of a game and wanting to play it for 175 hours or whatever the CD Projekt Red dev guy's crazy time is. Like that's all well and good, but if it is just the same rinse and repeat missions and dialogues and everything else that's happening for 30 hours, am I going to want to stick it out? Am I want to keep going and do that? And like there's definitely a possibility that there'd be a great reward curve to that and gameplay curve to that and feel the yourself getting more powerful in what you're chasing, what you're doing. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be fascinating, and I'm really, really interested to see how this all nets out when reviews start dropping and people get their hands on it.
Same.
Blessing.
Greg.
I want some PlayStation updates, but before then, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Hey everybody, it's Greg, and this week Kinda Funny is sponsored by What the Golf? It's snow time, and it's available exclusively on Apple Arcade. Obviously, we've been fans here for a long time. It's the golf game that's not really about golf. What the Golf doesn't play by anybody's rules. It's out right now. Of course, the developer Triband is infamous in the development scene. If you didn't know, at the Game Awards one year, they brought a bunch of golf balls and thought it'd be funny to drop them all on the red carpet. And I said, no, that's a legal hazard and liability. At which point, they just rolled them down towards the stage one by one. I said not to do that, Jeff, but they still did it. But What the Golf? It's Snow Time is available exclusively right now on Apple Arcade. Of course, What the Golf won Best Mobile Game at IGN's Game of the Year Awards 2019 and Best Mobile Game at the Game Developers Choice Awards in 2020. I've said it before, I'll say it again. What the Golf is a lot of fun. Jen and I did a whole night of co-op with a bottle of wine once, and it was a great time. But not about that. Don't worry about any of that. Instead, worry about What the Golf. It's Snow Time, available right now exclusively on Apple Arcade. What's up, everybody? This episode of PS I Love You XOXO is brought to you by Kinda Funny vs. Galactus. That's right. If you didn't know, we're all addicted to Fortnite. And Tuesday, Galactus comes to Fortnite to end the season. We're all going to fight him. That'll be happening on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames on Tuesday. It will be happening at 12:45 p.m. Pacific time. 1 o'clock's the actual event. I know what you're thinking. Greg, you dumb. I'm listening to this Wednesday. All right, this already happened. Yeah, I saw Galactus. He showed up. He danced. Everybody had a good time. I didn't know you guys were streaming. I didn't watch. Don't worry. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames where the archive of the stream is posted, probably, unless something catastrophic happened. And if that happened, then you go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and you give me $5 and you say, I'm sorry, something bad happened. So, but don't forget, we're going to fight Galactus in Fortnite, and I'm very excited about it. Are you excited, Kevin?
Super excited. Very, very excited. I can't wait to see what happens, but I'm also scared. You know what I mean? A little bit of fear. A little bit of fear.
Ladies and gentlemen, find out if we can beat Galactus. Find out what the next season of Fortnite looks like. And do it all with Kinda Funny. Twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Later, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. All right, what's the PlayStation updates for the week?
Greg, will the PS5 actually be a bigger success than the PS4?
What?
I asked you this question because there's an article here from Andy Robinson at the VGC who says PS5 was the PS5 was the UK's biggest ever console launch. He writes here, according to the publishing sources speaking to VGC, launch sales for Sony's console far exceeded the UK's previous record holder, 2013's PS4, which sold some 250,000 units in its first 48 hours. The most popular PS5 model at launch was the more expensive disc drive edition, VGC understands. However, the sales figures come with some caveats. Due to significant supply constraints for both Xbox Series X/S and PS5, the consoles would likely have sold even better if more stock was available. SIE has so far not shared any sales figures for the PS5. However, last week it claimed that globally, PS5 has recorded the biggest console launch sales in history, suggesting that it has sold more than 2 million global record previously set by PS4. PS5 is tracking very well in sales in UK. Greg, will it be bigger than PS4?
Overall, worldwide, when it's all said and done?
Mm-hmm.
You want to say no, right? Like, I mean, PlayStation 4 caught us all so off guard. I remember, in the PS3 era, at IGN, people talking about, oh, well, we'll do one more generation of consoles, then it'll all be unified. It'll all, this will all fall away. People start getting out of the industry or whatever. So to see PlayStation 4 be such a runaway success and move so many units, you then look at PlayStation 5 and go, well, there's no way they can do it again. There's no way that this can happen again, right? We sit here and we talk about Amazon Luna and Stadia and xCloud and Xbox wanting to be an app on your TV, right? That all spells breaking down the walls of accessibility and getting, not having to have a box underneath your TV, not having to have something else you buy to play your games. If we're truly moving that way, then that would have to say that PlayStation 5 can't be as successful as PlayStation 4, right?
But do you think we're truly moving that way?
We're moving that way for sure. How quickly are we moving that way? And it's because it's so easy to be like, oh, bandwidth sucks now, and the streaming, capabilities aren't that great now, and so on and so forth. But if Microsoft is all in on it, if Amazon is all in on it, if the country can get its shit together for broadband across the way, does it actually move it? It's so hard to say because obviously, like we've talked about before, these things are going to sell out at launch. And into VGC's article here, right? Obviously, if they would have had more, it would have been even more successful. But it's the fact that we can't have that many out ready to go, so you have to go off what you have. And then, are there that many more PlayStation fans now after a generation of PlayStation 4 being so dominant that they're going to go out and switch it and buy the PlayStation 5 at this crazy clip? It's one of those where every fact I say and talk about it, I say, no, it can't be more successful than PlayStation 4. But then you start thinking of dreaming and how much, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I was having this conversation a little bit with Tim this morning, and he mentioned something that I kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Right, there's the fact that there's just more people playing video games now than there were 7 years ago, and that number is continually growing in a way where looking at these numbers, I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier in the year, talking about the estimated PS5 sales, and I think even Sony estimated, or at least it was reported by Bloomberg, that they were expecting the PS5 to sell less out the gate than the PS4 because the PS5 is going to be $500. And I think that was at the start of when work from home and all the stuff with COVID started actually really, really going down. And that kind of put everything in the air in terms of what to expect. And now that cards have started landing and we're starting to see where things stand, the fact that it seems that in the UK within the first sales period, right, the PS5 is outselling the PS4. Very impressive just from a price point alone. The PS5 coming out at $500, the PS4 being $400. And with that being the case, when I think about where the PS5 is at now versus where the PS4 was at during the PS4 launch, software wise, over the generation, PlayStation has built something. There is an excitement. Not that there wasn't excitement before, but there's way more excitement now, I'd say, in terms of first-party software and Spider-Man and Last of Us and Tsushima and Horizon and Ratchet and Clank and all these games that Sony has built into their stable and have made a solid part of PlayStation Studios. The fact that 2021 seems so stacked and you imagine people are going to show up, and this is also a very weird point too, because a lot of these games are going to be on PS4 also. But you imagine, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, Ragnarok, throwing out the idea that it's probably going to be on PS4 too, and then everything else coming out next year, Ratchet and Clank and other games slated. I think that's just going to lead to PS5 outpacing the PS4, maybe significantly if they can get enough units out there.
I think you also, hit on an important point there where I think so many people have been like, oh man, I wish they weren't supporting the PlayStation 4 with, a Horizon for them or a Miles for them. You look at this though, and what we're talking about, right? Where, more people are playing games than ever and more people own a PlayStation than ever. And so why wouldn't you want to continue to give those people games that they're going to love and then also be able to show them how much better they look on PlayStation 5 so people upgrade them? Again, I think when you start talking about what we're talking about, it sounds crazy. It sounds fanboyish to be like, the PlayStation 5 could be or is going to be a bigger success than the PlayStation 4. But I can see the case. I don't think it's a slam dunk either way, but I can definitely see it, and even tangentially to the point of, Poe bought this at launch, like he took one of my pre-orders, like, and not took it as in I hit him up like, hey, do you want one? He hit me up and was like, hey, I'm trying to pre-order one. Do you know where I can get? I was like, oh man, I got one for you if you want it. And like, he's always the person I bring up as my most mainstream gamer friend, right? Who kind of pays attention, but doesn't really. Like, he plays games and loves his PlayStation, but not like we do. He's not listening to podcasts or anything like that. And then to have my, other friends who are hitting me up trying to get their kids the units and try to figure this out. Like, it's definitely out there, but it's always so hard to tell at this moment. Yeah. Launch is never the actual barometer for what's happening.
Yeah, this is what the real story is.
It's not actually like we're dealing with scarcity because it's launch, right? Like, what if there were unlimited amounts of PS5s out there? What would we actually see in terms of numbers going for launch at this price point? Like, what's going to happen? Yeah, 2021 looks good. What does 2022 look like? What does Xbox bring to the table when they start firing on all cylinders with their first party and the xCloud and everything else? And then when do you see a redesign and a price drop and then a PlayStation 5 Pro and all these different things that could motivate people to continue to put money back into this ecosystem and keep buying more, right? Because that is one of the growths. One of the reasons PlayStation 4 is so successful is that so many of us bought a PlayStation 4 Pro. Like, that's why the number is so huge for PlayStation 4, is because you had the initial run, obviously, and the initial success, but then a reason to get another one. Like, there was actually something motivating you to go to get another one.
Yeah, I'm very fascinated to see. I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about the years beyond 2020 and 2021, because I think what you said at the beginning in terms of game streaming and the direction that takes is going to play a big part of when we talk about PlayStation, let's say 5, 6, 7 years down the line, because I think 2020, 2021 is pretty spoken for in terms of the PS5 is going to sell, I think, out of this world, because right now it's launching at a critical time where COVID is spiked game activity, right? People are showing up to buy games, people are showing up to buy consoles. And then also 2021 in software is just insane. But yeah, when you talk about, hey, what does game streaming do, or what does even game subscriptions do, when we talk about Game Pass, when we talk about other subscriptions, and then also like what are the other folks doing in terms of first party software or software just available on other consoles in general, right? Like, does that mess with the momentum of PS5 and the overall sales compared to the PS4? And I think that is definitely a we'll have to wait and see thing.
Yeah, I think we're on the PlayStation show and we're the PlayStation money hats and Sony ponies and all that jazz. I think, I always bring up Microsoft xCloud, their first party stuff. I'm interested to see what that actually does, because part of me does just wonder if it's too late. Just that, like, PlayStation already has what we're talking about here. It has this fan base. It has this thing. It's coming off a hugely successful generation. And since Xbox wasn't able to open this one with the salvo of Halo Infinite, it wasn't able to open it up and be like, this is why we're the best place to play. Look at these games. I wonder if they've, again, lost the momentum there. They've lost that first impression, so that all people are talking about is PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? And granted, I know the internet would love to tell you that, the only reason people are hitting Greg up about PlayStation 5s is that he's the PlayStation guy, right? Like, that is not how my friends see me. My friends from college and high school don't see me as the PlayStation guy. They see me as the video game guy. And they're all coming to me trying to get their hands on the PlayStation 5, not the Xbox. If it doesn't matter what I play or where I'm at, they know that I would know how to get an Xbox too if that's what they wanted to come get. And so, does Xbox lose that momentum in a way that they aren't able to actually change the course? Like, I think, I always talk about Xbox One failing because they didn't believe in their own vision. Now I think Xbox believes in their vision, but can they get anyone else to believe in it when everybody else is running to PlayStation?
I think right now they're in a place where, yeah, like they've lost. They're not on the course that they necessarily want to be, and I think that comes mainly with the loss of Halo Infinite. And like a Halo,
I don't think it's not that they're on the course they want to be. I don't think they're where they want to be on the course.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think like to your point, I think they will get there. I think their course goes beyond just software. Like their course, when we talk about xCloud, when we talk about Game Pass and all this stuff, like I keep thinking about Phil Spencer and him talking about a streaming stick for Xbox, or talking about putting Xbox apps on smart TVs.
Yep.
And I think that is going to be a big part of what Xbox is this generation and just in the future in general. Like I making games accessible and affordable and making them a thing that anybody can jump into despite big price points, I think is going to be huge for Xbox, and I think is going to count for them as a win, especially because they're going to be talking more so about user base as opposed to console sold or boxes sold, which is going to be big. And I think right now, yeah, they are not where they want to be on that course, but I think Halo Infinite was more so like a stumbling block as opposed to a like face and palm, like fuck man, we
Sure.
like we fucked it, like we're done for this generation kind of thing. Because I think they're still going to be like, I think 7 years from now, the story is going to be, oh yeah, Xbox is all over the place. Like everybody loves Xbox. Like Xbox is great, and the story for PlayStation will still be PlayStation, right? Like the story for PlayStation will be, oh yeah, they got Spider-Man, they got all these awesome games, they got the DualSense or what are the things you want to point to that makes the PlayStation ecosystem the PlayStation ecosystem? They're gonna have that. And I guess like the question is then 7 years from now, like what is the more ubiquitous way to play games? Because I think this is a very fascinating conversation because I think like Nintendo's in a very interesting place as a company because they don't give a fuck about what anybody else is doing. They thrive by doing Nintendo and by making great software and by making the hardware that they want to make. And people will buy a Switch just to play Zelda or play Mario or play whatever the fuck they're making on Nintendo. And I can see PlayStation, and this is going to sound crazy, I can see PlayStation occupying the same space 7 years from now.
A lot of people already have it in that space, right? Where they play everything third party on Xbox, but they have their PlayStation for exclusives.
Yes, and like I think what Xbox is doing on their side is so smart and future thinking in terms of giving everybody access and breaking down barriers and doing what they're doing on the hardware side and on the just technology side in general, whereas PlayStation is kind of sticking to this not archaic, because it is present. Like what PlayStation is in a place where they are thinking about the right now, and that is going to
they're doing what's tried and true.
Yes, and that is going to make for, depending on how things go, right? Like if what Xbox is doing ends up being the more ubiquitous thing because it is so accessible to everybody, that is going to then turn PlayStation into the, hey, we're PlayStation and you're showing up because of PlayStation games, because of the PlayStation ecosystem, and because you're loyal to the PlayStation brand, which is a very Nintendo thing. And like in that regard, right? Like I don't think there will be winners and losers. I think that will just be a, hey, play where you want to play how you want to play, which is also a beautiful thing.
It's 100% the future you just spelled out is what each of them see it as. I just wonder which one ends up being more mainstream. And I understand, of course, obviously the $15 one is the one that's on your phone, your TV, your everything. It's all there ready to go. But is it like, again, if PlayStation 4 has had this 7 years of just fucking crushing it, and then PlayStation 5 starts out of the blocks and it seems like it's on the same pace, and that you already have that. You already have a connection to those boxes. You already have it. And then you have this giant TV and you have this amazing picture quality. Like, at what point are you looking and you're comparing them as a person and you're like, well, sure, I'd get all this cheaper and have it there, but there's going to be a little bit of latency and it won't be as sharp as this. And, if the internet goes down, you can't play anything. There's such a hard thing of, because I'm excited. You know how much I love streaming and you know how much I love Xbox's vision, but I wonder about how, again, to have my friends who have never given a shit about games, not Poe, but other people, hitting me up trying to get their hands on this. How hard is it then to switch the messaging one day, 7 years from now, and talk to them about like, no, you just need a controller or the controller you already have and sync it through this and do this thing. And yeah, it's not that it's like impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but are they looking, when they sit down, a mainstream gamer, are they looking for what's easy and turnkey and they've known forever because it's archaic and it's what it is? Or are they looking for the best deal and the best library and the best whatever? Because again, it's software that's moved these things. It's people wanting to sit down and play stuff. So yeah, I know, plenty of people we know do think of PlayStation like they think of their Switch and there's exclusives they play on it, nothing else. But if that's all you care, if you only play a couple games a year, is it a big selling point to then say, well, then don't forget about Game Pass and all this other stuff? I don't know the answers to this. I don't know how you talk to a mainstream gamer. I think we always get so caught up in what we're doing in the hardcore circle and what we think's cool and what is admittedly cool and how great a deal Game Pass is. But it's again harder to sit there and champion that when, so the long and short of it, it's the same thing I've said for years. People, whether it be girlfriends, whether it be boyfriends, whether it be husbands, whether it be parents who hit me up and like, hey, kid X really wants this console, but wants video games. Should I get him this console or that console? Or should I do this or that? And my question's always like, well, what do they want to play? Like, what a game are they talking about? Because it's never about the console, right? If you want to play, if they're all talking about Bloodborne, you want to be able to play Bloodborne. You don't give a shit that you just got a brand new console and Bloodborne is not even available on it, right? Like, this goes back to what we're always talking about of like, what is the best place to play games right now? It's the PC. The PCs are fucking amazing and have a gajillion megahertz, and the TV, it's all wide and yada yada yada. But that isn't what people run off to the stores to buy. And I know this is a very loaded story because of course PCs are a different thing and it's not as easy just to go buy them, yada yada yada. But I feel like PC gaming, in the way we think of PC gaming, of needing the new RTX card and all this other shit, right, is such a multiple rungs up the ladder of commitment to video games, whereas consoles aren't that commitment. And how does that commitment to wanting it to be good enough? Consoles are good enough. They get you in, they let you play games. It can be your hobby. You can take it to the 12th degree of RTX. Is streaming good enough for that? Is an Xbox app good enough for that? Or is an Xbox app seen as just something that exists and is neat but doesn't catch on because somebody wants to play a very specific game?
Yeah. I mean, I think the question for me becomes, if it's not good enough yet, when can it become good enough? Like, if it becomes good enough in 3-4 years, and I could talk to my because my sister has children, right? If I could talk to my sister and be like, yo, my nephews can play Elder Scrolls 6 if they wanted to for just $10 this month on your TV, and I hand over an Xbox controller for them to use, right? Like, if it's good enough, then yeah, like I think that changes the scope of the conversation in what video games look like by the end of the generation versus what it looks like now. But it's like a big if. Like it is a big like, hey, if gaming streaming is able to take off and be a way that people feel is like just good, right? Like if game streaming becomes more normalized and more approachable and accessible and easier to do and a better experience overall, then yeah, like I think once you get to the point where it's good enough, then that changes things. But yeah, no, it's a lot.
And that's why you get back to the question, will the PlayStation 5 actually be a bigger success than the PlayStation 4? It could totally be. It might not be. Nobody knows. And I've been around long enough to know that all this shit changes on a dime. I just think that right now, it's a precarious time, and you can't take launch as this is what's obviously going to track for the next 8 years, next decade, right? But it is this thing, even in the chat, Rexor is saying, as someone who's closer to the mainstream, all the rappers and influencers are talking about the PS5, and the casuals, and all the casuals I know are talking about the PlayStation 5. Like, again, that's Rexor in our chat right now.
Sample sizes. But
exactly.
Like, I would say the same thing, right? Like on TikTok, I feel like every other day, maybe every day, I come across a TikTok that is a joke about getting your partner the PS5, or like, this is what I do for a PS5, or I'm gonna rob this man for the PS5, jokingly. Like those types of things. And it's like, yeah, that is because because PS4 has already had this built-in fan base through a successful generation, and also like this box being the thing that feels way more new and exciting, and Miles Morales being accompanied with it, and Demon Souls, and all these different factors that fall into it. But yeah, like how that translates to it selling against the PS4, like I'm totally with you in terms of anything can change halfway through the generation, and that's going to determine whether you see drop off or whether this thing keeps blowing up and continues to deliver.
We'll keep watching.
Number 2 on PlayStation updates. This is a PSA. Speaking of PS5s, stop buying scalped PS5s. It's my PSA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I am pulling from an article from Rebecca Smith at PlayStation Lifestyle, who writes, there's a PlayStation 5 scalper who makes $40,000 in 1 week. $40,000 in 1 week. And he bought over 200 PS5s for resale. Right. The article goes like this. While notorious scalper group Crep chief Notify have been making headlines through their exploits. An unrelated loan seller has also managed to earn himself $40,000 in a single week from the sale of PS5 consoles. As reported by Business Insider, the man only referred to as Mark F managed to bag himself a haul of 221 PS5 consoles to resell to desperate customers. The
Boo.
US-based seller acquired his stockpile through a combination of bots and genuine online sales. Between 110 digital-only consoles and 111 disc consoles, his enterprise cost a grand total of $99,500. He's then been reselling the consoles for $1,000 each, more than double their original price. With at least $500 profit on each machine, he's making a fairly significant sum of money. Just last week alone, he managed to make $40,000 from PS5 sales. With many people clamoring to get their hands on the latest console, he seems to have no shortage of potential buyers despite his extortionate prices. Even though Sony has promised more inventory to be released by the end of the year, despairing families have taken to the secondary market to make sure they can get their hands on the latest PlayStation console in time for Christmas. At the rate he's going, he's highly likely to sell all those consoles without a problem. Again, back to my PSA. Stop buying these scalped consoles. There will be consoles in stores at some point for you to buy. It is not worth it. It's not worth paying $500 extra. And also, it's not worth encouraging these folks
Don't
to
encourage
scalp
them.
these things.
What a bummer, man. You know what I mean? I as somebody now who, like, I have a friend who hit me up looking for their kid. And so now, you know, I'm on the hunt again and I'm doing it with them and like looking for stuff. But like to go to like, you know, where was it? At Walmart the other night, I had it in the cart and you hit the button and it fails. And like, oh God, you know what I mean? Like, you get this, then here's somebody just going out and getting 221 of them to flip and fuck people over. It's like, oh man, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. And so stay away from scalpers. Sony said there will be more PS5s replenished, and so keep a lookout for those. And then last one for PlayStation updates. From the PS blog, we have our PlayStation Plus games for December. They look like this: Worms Rumble, Just Cause 4, and Rocket Arena. Rocket Arena was the one that came out this summer from EA.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty interesting to see that one already come to PS Plus.
Definitely one that needs an audience, right? Like, I think that's the moral of it, right? As you see more and more, not more and more, but like even when you look at like Destruction All-Stars coming this way, or everyone wants to point to the success of Rocket League or Fall Guys, like obviously these games that need a player base, that need people to be a part of them, it makes so much sense to get them on here, which is why the other one, you know, like that I've seen kicked around so many times is, when is Avengers coming to either Game Pass or PlayStation Plus? Like, when are you going to do something with that game, obviously, to try to get the numbers back up on it and get people back into it?
I got some PlayStation picks this week, Greg. Of course, this is where we highlight a few of the cool looking games coming to PSN this week. For the big hitters, there's quite a few. We got Rainbow Six Siege coming to PS5 on Tuesday, December 1st. Twin Mirror coming to PS4 on Tuesday, December 1st. Immortals Phoenix Rising coming to PS5 and PS4 Thursday, December 3rd. FIFA 21 coming to PS5 Thursday, December 3rd. And then Madden NFL 21 coming to PS5 Thursday, December 3rd.
Where are you at with Twin Mirror?
Product not yet ready.
I've been excited for it. I worry because I feel like there's not been enough marketing for that game. Like, because it again, for like context for people, right? It's like it's a don't nod game that is this supernatural dude with abilities going through some weird shit. I don't know.
He can go into his mirror world mind.
Yeah, and like I'm into it. I dig the premise. It reminds me a little bit of Fahrenheit / Indigo Prophecy, whatever you want to call it, from Quantic Dream back in the day on PS2, and I kind of like those vibes. But like, one, I don't think at least I've not gotten a review code for it. Then also, like, I don't know, I feel like for a Don't Nod game, like an adventure game coming out from Don't Nod, or narrative game, whatever you want to call it, I feel like there should be more, like, I don't know, like
press behind it.
Yeah, excitement. And
yeah, that was the thing, is I played it for a preview months and months and months and months and months ago. And I was like, this is weird. All right, guys, so you know what? I'm sorry. Let me take that back. This is the weird part of Pandemic. I didn't play it. I watched a demo of it. That was a video that expired when it finished or whatever. And it was like, did I play? I honestly can't remember anymore if it was me playing or if I was watching it be played. Maybe I played it and then I watched something about it. It doesn't matter for the long thing. It was a weird game where it's just, even the way they were telling the narrative was weird. And then to go into his shattered memories minds, I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I still want to play it because I like Don't Nod. Obviously, I want to see what this one's all about. But like, I agree with you. Like, you think of like what you see for A Life is Strange, what you see for.
Tell me why.
Thank you very much. Yeah, where's the hype for this one? Why isn't anybody talking about this?
Yeah, and so that worries me a little bit, but yeah, I also want to try it out because I do love those Don't Nod games. And this is the one that like I've been like both Tell Me Why in this game were announced I think like either a year or two ago, and both of them I was like, oh yeah, cool. And then when as we were approaching Tell Me Why, I was like, okay, there are other games I'm playing. Maybe I'll just wait and just play Twin Mirror instead. And now I'm like, oh man, I hope this one is good because if not, I'm gonna be bummed out that I skipped Tell Me Why to wait for this one. And I might just go back and just play Tell Me Why instead.
Never too late on Xbox Game Pass. Tell me why.
That's true. We have some actual PlayStation picks. Starting with Worms Rumble, which I mentioned before. That's the PS Plus game for December. It's coming out on PS5 and PS4 on Tuesday, December 1st. Kevin, I got the trailer for this one if you want to play it.
Oh, he's playing it.
Team 17 presents Worms Rumble, the brand new installment in the long-running Worms franchise, introducing a real-time arena-based 32-player cross-platform extravaganza that puts a new spin on your favorite warmongering invertebrates. Kevin, was this the game that you're really into?
No, you're thinking of Worm Jazz, which is a puzzle game.
That's what I was thinking of. I was really hoping you'd have a lot to say on this. I've been wondering because I mentioned Worms Rumble multiple times. I've been waiting for Kevin to chime in. He's not chimed in once.
He's like, I can't wait to tell you. I'm gonna set Kevin up. He's gonna knock him down. We're gonna play some Worms.
Growing up, I liked Worms.
Kevin, what can you tell me about Worms Rumble? Pretend that you have been playing Worms Rumble. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, not a lot of people playing online right now. Hope they join. You know what I mean?
Yep, and with it being free on PS Plus, there's gonna be a whole lot of people. You know.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See what I'm talking about? You need an online community. You put it on PlayStation Plus. What a weird looking Worms game.
I never played Worms.
Well, they're usually like turn based. Like you're going through and doing things. This is like so action oriented here, where normal Worms, right? You sit there and you aim, you do your thing, and then you let it play out and see how it all falls and see what explodes.
Yeah, it's like a battle royale.
I remember Worms being a big deal on Xbox 360 when we'd all play at IGN, but that was years and years and years and years and years ago.
You know what's not like Worms?
What's that?
Chronos Before the Ashes, which is coming to PS4 on Tuesday, December 1st. Chronos Before the Ashes is an atmospheric RPG that chronicles a hero's lifelong quest to save their homeland from a great evil. Grow wiser, stronger, and more powerful as you explore the depths of the mysterious labyrinth. But beware, the labyrinth takes a heavy toll. Each time your hero dies, they lose a year of their life. Yeah, I saw this one as I was like going through the games that are coming out this week, and this one stood out to me. It looks pretty cool, and I wonder how that mechanic like manifests, like losing a year of your life. I wonder if that's like a Hellblade thing where spoilers is a lie, because in Hellblade there are like the more you die, the more likely it is we'll erase your save or whatever, and then you learn that like, or I don't even think you learned this. I think people online were like, hey, I died 1 billion times, I never lost my save. I wonder if there's an actual mechanic here that's involved in terms of you losing a year of your life. It'd be cool if you like got older and older as the more and more you died. Sure. Because that'd be fun. But either way, the art style looks cool. I'm into it. It has like a kind of almost like a minimalistic, or not even minimalistic, but like more basic kind of art style in terms of it being more cartoony-ish, if that makes sense. Like it's not like a fucking like RPG ass fantasy, I'm a detailed character in a detailed world kind of thing. Like it seems like the art style here is more so like a more light in terms of what it's going for.
I can see it.
But I'm into it.
You gonna play
I like how it looks. Probably not.
Yeah, no, you got no time for that.
But I like how it looks. Yeah, Cyberpunk's right around the corner.
It's got to be coming soon, right? That's the thing, man. And that's what you've been playing, right? Like as we transition into that, like what we were talking about earlier, like that's the thing is Cyberpunk's so close. So I feel like I've been bouncing around. It's why, honestly, I think in terms of what you've been playing, like I think Fortnite's found such a resurgence here with us.
Yeah.
Where like right now, me, you, Joey, Barrett, Kevin, obviously, but Kevin's running the show still. So we've been playing Fortnite every night, it seems like, sometimes during the day. And, Kevin knocking out all his challenges, Barrett knocking all his challenges, being over 100 on the battle pass. Like, I think a big part of that is obviously how much fun the game is and the Marvel universe sucking us in, but also definitely the fact that, we're all building towards the end of the season tomorrow or today as you record this or listen to this. And also the fact that Fortnite's the perfect in-between game where it's like it doesn't require too much of your attention in terms of what are you doing. There isn't some 30-hour thing we're all working on right now. We're all playing little matches you can bounce out of whenever.
Yeah. No, I've been really digging playing Fortnite lately. I'm very curious about what this Galactus thing is and what the next season is. Yeah. I'm really excited about it because I've not actually participated in one of these big season altering events, and so I'm ready for the hype. I want to know what that is. But yeah, it's been such a good like you said, Cyberpunk's around the corner. It's been hard to really commit to anything. And so like when I look at the games I've been playing, I've been chipping away at Yakuza Like a Dragon. I played a bit of Werewolves Phoenix Rising, and then yeah, like also more Fortnite because like those are the games that I feel comfortable with because I don't want to start anything big right before Cyberpunk comes out and derails me.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you know, I know I've said it before and we said it recently too. I still can't get over how much fun Fortnite is and how much there is to do. And like that idea where there's the games where it is nothing about trying to win. It's only about trying to knock out the challenges or work on something for Kevin. Like, you know, it's been great.
I've never been a challenge person until I started playing with y'all. Like I've always been about the W's, and yeah, like playing for this last week, Kevin kind of opened my eyes. Like as Kevin, every time we drop, Kevin's like, "Can we drop here because I want to get the circles, or I want to get like X, Y, and Z thing, or I want to." The fun one we did was the game where I think it was me, Kevin, Joey, and Barrett, and one of the challenges was your team would have to visit every area on the map in one go.
Location. Yeah.
Every named location, in one game. And so we all dropped on like different areas
with helicopters.
Where there were helicopters.
We took the helicopters spread out.
Yeah, we each took a helicopter and then we visited all the locations and it worked out so easily and so perfectly. And then
I feel like we got like third place on that one too, right? Because we kept.
Yeah, I think we still did good.
Yeah.
Because we're beasts. They can't stop us, Kevin.
I mean, yeah, some of us, dude, for sure. You guys are great.
You're good too, Kevin.
All right.
Kevin, how have you been enjoying your resurgence?
Oh man, I'm loving it. I'm having a love. I'm actually like worried that come Wednesday I'm not going to be as excited, and that like bums me out. It's like
because not Marvel.
Yeah, not Marvel. I mean, because it's different. You know, it's good right now. We like it right now. Who knows?
Scared of change.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, what if the change is bad?
Sure.
You know, it looks like a bunch of gnomes is going to be in the next season.
It is not going to be gnomes. Gnomes have always been there. You have this theory it's going to be gnomes because you've seen gnomes in the grave.
What is up with the gnomes? I don't get the gnomes.
Right? It's weird.
Because every time I step by a gnome, like my controller starts vibrating, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah, this doesn't feel right.
That would be the shittiest thing in the world. They follow up the Marvel season with the gnome season.
Well, no.
What can they follow up the season with is the question.
There's rumors of Star Wars stuff, Mandalorian stuff.
Ooh, that'd be pretty good. That'd be a good follow up.
I wonder. I mean, this is all to an extent too. Sorry, this could be expired goods by the time most people get here to watch or listen. But like, you know, so tomorrow the idea is on Tuesday. Galactus shows up in Fortnite to end the season. There's an event. We'll be streaming it, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We'll be live at like 12:45 Pacific time. The thing's at 1 o'clock Pacific time. It'll be up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames later unless something horrible happens. Like him coming in and fucking it up. My thought would be that on top of him coming in to fuck up the Fortnite planet, like another portal's going to open up and Mandalorian, whoever the fuck or whatever is going to happen, they pour through and they push him back and you guys together do it, which then sets the ground for the next season. And it's like, it's a hodgepodge of everything mixed up. So it is still a Marvel season. It is still a Mando season. It's a Disney Plus season. Like, I don't know. That's my guess. Because I just don't think you can follow up with a normal ass Fortnite season after this. Like, you need something fucking cool.
I feel like at a certain point they're gonna fuck themselves over because they do something so awesome, like, and then be like, "All right, I guess the next season is Power Rangers," and everybody's like, "But we just had Marvel, like, let's just keep doing this." And they're like, "But we gotta do something else," and we got Power Rangers, you know, and we all know how much you love Power Rangers. I mean, Power Rangers are cool, but they're not like Thanos. You know, they couldn't even fight Thanos if they even tried.
Nah, he would kill him immediately.
Yeah,
just crush their little helmets and be over. Yeah, you know what I mean?
They get the Megazord, and Thanos would be like, "What is this?" and then blast him with the Power Stone.
Yeah.
And then turn back time, blast him again.
see what this weekend ends up being for Fortnite. But yeah, that's, it's been an easy fix for me wanting to hop around. Because again, yeah, Immortals Phoenix Rising, like I like the combat. The way I describe Immortals Phoenix Rising is I enjoy playing it. When I'm playing it, I'm having fun. And then as soon as I put it down, I never think about picking it back up. Like every time I've played it over the weekend, it wasn't like, oh, I got to play more. I can't wait to play more Immortals. Like, oh, I should play more of that. I have it early. The review embargo is up on Monday. I should play some more of that. And then I jump in and play it and unlock a new power, unlock more stamina or whatever to climb. But it's like such a weird, oh, this is Breath of the Wild mashed up with Assassin's Creed. And sometimes they get it wrong. Where I think one of the cool things of Breath of the Wild was hey, I'm going to wander and just find shit. And this one for Phoenix is like, you can still do that, but you can also, in the same way, pretty much with any Assassin's Creed game, go to the top of the statue and then just look around and mark everything on your map. Your map is just filled with all the stuff you can go to. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, shit, I could go for more health. So I'll go get all these ambrosias I have. And then I get into the going to do it. And I'm like, why don't I just go play Odyssey? Like, I feel like Odyssey does this better than this does, but this is fun, but Odyssey, it's weird.
Yeah, I really wanted to like Immortals more because because of how much I love Breath of the Wild. But at every turn, I feel like the game compares itself so much to Breath of the Wild that it's almost impossible for me not to compare it to Breath of the Wild in so many instances. Sure. And the more I do that, the more I'm like, okay, well, they didn't do this as well, or they like the thing where you climb up the tower and yeah, like you get into your, I'm just gonna call it a super scope because I don't know what else to call it. You get into your super scope and you start marking literally everything, and it's like, okay, well, that just took out the fun because now I just have a map filled with icons. And like the cool thing about Breath of the Wild was, okay, yeah, as I'm like looking around, I see cool landmarks, and it's not necessarily about marking that on my map immediately. It's more so about me opening the map and then putting in like my specific markers so that I could come back to this thing, right? Because I have like a limit of like 6, or I could put down like symbols and stuff for Breath of the Wild if I wanted to. But it's more so on you, the player, to do that. And like it's cool to be like, okay, cool. Like I have shrines I'm looking for, and you see an orange glow in the distance, and you're like, oh, that is definitely a shrine. You like go check it out. Like they're the thing that I think Immortals Phoenix Rising does well is it lets you explore at your own pace and kind of pick and choose how you want to play in the open world, which is what I want to see out of open worlds. But I think it totally misses the mark in terms of the actual feeling of discovering something and feeling really cool and really satisfied by what you discovered and how you discovered it.
100%.
And like so much of it, I feel like reeks of somebody played Breath of the Wild and they were like, we can do this. Like we've made plenty of open worlds. Like let's just do this. And they just learned all the wrong lessons. And like I took down notes last night because I kind of had to like figure out how I felt about this game, because I think overall it is a very fine game, and I think quite a few people are going to really enjoy this game. Because
if I can chime
really
in,
good things sometimes, yeah,
exactly. And again, it's timing is what's so unfortunate for it. Where I just feel like it's too close to Odyssey and it's too close to Cyberpunk, and it's just getting squeezed into it. IGN gave it a 7, GameSpot gave it a 7. I'm right there in what this is. Where it's like, yeah, it's a good game if you want to just have that kind of experience. Like I feel like in a slow period, if this, not having the entire release, you drop this in like a January, a March, even a slow like June, like I think you'd have more legs for this in terms of like, oh shit, here we go. But being here with like all the big fall releases and then still some of them to come, it's like, oh well, this is something I could do, but why would I do that right now?
Yeah. I will say I did like the puzzles in the game. Like I saw some people weren't really feeling them. That was like one of the few things in the game where I was like, oh, actually these are great. Like I really enjoyed going into the different they're called
Tartarus
vaults.
Pits.
Yeah, vaults of Tartarus. And like they're basically the shrines in the game, and like
they are unabashedly the shrines.
Yes.
Like that thing is like, if you haven't gone to watch or see anything of this game, like this game could not be more Breath of the Wild if it tried, except I guess some of the things it fucked up. But it is that thing of like the visual style, the climbing up of anything, the going into the vaults to get the puzzles.
When you pick up anything with like your magnet kind of thing, and it looks exactly like the same animation from Breath of the Wild.
Even like the fucking like, you make your own potions, so like you cook. And it's not the exact same cooking mini game, but the first time I did it, I was like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, guys. And like, again, it's a good game. Like, I'm with you. Like, I saw people saying the puzzles weren't, I forget who it was today, said the puzzles weren't like, making you think or whatever. And it's like, oh, I haven't had that experience. I enjoy the puzzles. Like last night, I had one where it very clearly gave you the like, here's what you're doing. And then it would turn on its head a little bit. And then the last one was, there was no hints at all on what to do. and it was like turning on the dials in the right way. And it was like trying to figure out what are the rules of this puzzle. And so when I finally figured it out and solved it, I was like, that was actually really fucking cool. I felt good about that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not like, I can't wait to finish this podcast and go do these puzzles. It was like, all right, once I was in there and I was going, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. Is I wish like a lot of the puzzles in the vaults felt like, hey, we're setting this thing up for you, and you can use the elements of this, the items that are in this puzzle specifically, or in this vault specifically, to solve the puzzle that's here, as opposed to the thing I like about Breath of the Wild being you have as Link, right? You have a magnet, you have this ice thing you can do, you can pause time with this thing, and these are all the elements that can be used in all the puzzles, and we're gonna set them up and you can knock them down in each and every one of them. I kind of wish there was something like that. Like I wish there was more, hey, here are your tools and you have them from the beginning and you can do anything you want right now. Go for it.
I had thought they had done that because it was like, oh, they give you the lift and a few other things. And I was like, great. And then hours in, I was playing a puzzle and I came out of it and they show you there's multiple things to get inside the vaults or whatever. And I was missing one of the treasures. Like, oh shit, okay, I don't know how I missed that. And I went back in, and as soon as I went back in, it was like, you don't have the power to actually get them. I'm like, oh come on, like
the same exact thing happened to me, and I was like, damn it, dude, man, that sucks. But there was a vault I did last night where you basically have like they do like a lot of things with like weight in this game, which I think is pretty interesting, where you'll have a box, or in this case they were like these giant balls that you like move around, and there was a weighted ball and there was a I guess a not weighted ball, and if you have to put them on specific types of buttons in order to make them do a thing or to activate a thing, right? And so like you'll know which one is which, because a button that can be activated with an unweighted object will be marked with a feather, whereas one that can be activated with a weighted object will be marked with an anvil. And so like basically the goal of that vault was to get both balls to the end, which in the context of the puzzle and the progression of it, I thought was very well done, because it was a thing of, all right, I gotta take this first ball up to this place. All right, cool. That then activates the thing, so I can take this ball up to the next portion. Once I got that second ball there, then that opens up more of a path for ball one. And so I go there, and then I do that back and forth in a way that made me feel really cool and really genius, in a way that I felt was very inspired. And so like there are things in this game, there are things in Immortals Phoenix Rising that I think definitely work. But overall, like I kind of wish there was
more
there in other parts.
I don't think it's, for me personally, that it's not things in this game don't work. It's just things in this game don't wow. If that makes sense, right? Where the visual they went for, again, seems Breath of the Wildy, right? And at times is gorgeous and stunning. But then at other times when the characters are talking to each other, you're like, oh, why are their lips like that? Why is this happening? You know what I mean? And it's like, again, oh man, there's so much to do in this game. And then it's like overwhelming your map on what to go through. And the puzzles are cool. I can't do this one thing. It's like, it's one of those hard things of it's almost there. And I feel like it's so hard to point out why it's not great. Why is this game good and not great? And there's all these things that are so close. And again, at a different time, I could totally see getting lost in this game and doing everything and running through. Again, like I think the way they tell the story of, Prometheus talking to Zeus and them narrating this tale is really well done. Like when it first got announced the second time or whatever, one of my concerns was like, oh, is it going to be like really in line with Odyssey? Is it going to be very similar to Assassin's Creed Odyssey? And it's not, right? Like even though they're dealing with Greek mythology and doing all these different things, like it doesn't vibe that way at all. And there are really cool moves and really cool powers to pull off in it, but like we're saying, it just is what it is, which is always the worst. I want a game to either be garbage or fucking awesome. And so you have a game that's like, oh, this is solid. Yeah, I could see having fun with this, but it's always going to be that thing of I can always also see you taking your money and putting it into any number of other better games.
Yeah.
For me, outside of like that, like I said, got pushed back to Valhalla for a bit, was screwing around there, but it's hard to, knowing that I'm going to get lost. It's like, how many more hours am I going to put in Valhalla before I get Cyberpunk? And then I'm off of that. Lots of Fortnite, still chipping away at that stupid Avengers fucking Hive trophy thing. And then I made good on our promise from last week, Blessing, and I started 5 dates.
Really? Did you get the code for it?
No,
I've been waiting for the code.
No,
you just bought it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that's a video. That's a video. You're playing the FMV there. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's another game that's like, I don't know. I think I was expecting more like, whoa, this is getting wacky or whatever. And it's just very much like, all right, you go on 3 dates with people and choose what you say to them. And so it's like, oh, this is kind of boring. And like I could spice it up and be a dick if I wanted, but like, what if I don't want to be a dick? So then I'm just talking to these people that I'm on a date, like I'm on virtual dates with. And I'm like, all right, okay. And it's a very simple system of like, you can hit your touchpad and go in and it'll show you like your tracking with them and like how well you're doing. But it's just like out of 100%. It's like, you know, I purposely did a bad choice and it went down to like 68 from 82. I'm like, all right, like, whatever.
Were any like the characters like interesting?
No. So I didn't even finish it. I finished the first round. You pick 3 women, then you go on the dates with them, and then you have a friend you talk to who's kind of like, you know, narrating and like, you know, keeping everything abreast of the situation. And then you get to, you know, you pick 2 of them to go on second dates with. If they picked you, if you did well enough, you go on the dates with them. And it was like, all right, cool. You know, I was a complete jerk to 2 of them, really nice to one of them. And so then it was like, all right, cool. She wants to go on another date with you. And I was like, I don't really want to. I just closed it, walked away. I'm like, I'm good, thanks. I don't need to do this. So yeah,
damn,
that was my 5 dates experience.
That's a bummer.
It was. Yeah,
I was looking forward to trying it out, but you just unsold me on it. Like I like those types of games where it's like, oh yeah, I like weird, quirky FMV games, even if they are not good. But when they hit that spot of being just boring and uninteresting, that's why I'm like, damn it. Either be great or be just completely nonsensically like cheese. Yeah, and you know that's why Telling Lies is awesome because it's great and it's an FMV game and like it's cool, interesting, and same with her story. But then like the Complex is one where playing through the Complex earlier this year for the 2020 games ranked, you know, like that was where I came out of it being like, all right, I didn't love this, but it was cheese enough that I don't regret my hour or 2 with this.
Same people did it, right? That was Wales Interactive.
Wait, was it the same people that did the Complex?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have that on there. They might be just the publisher, but no, they are definitely. There's Complex and 5 dates. Yeah, they're the same people on there.
Damn.
Yeah.
I might try it out just for that.
Try it out then. See what you think.
Did the Complex.
See if I'm wrong. You want me to wait for it? Because I can wait to put it on PSN Rank till you play it.
No, I'll just put it on there because who knows? If I get Cyberpunk like right after this episode, I'm not touching it.
It's a good point. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you go to kindoffunny.com/104 list. This is where we rank a bunch of different games we play on the PSN and screw around with. Currently, the top 10 are Manifold Garden, number 2, Telling Lies, number 3, Fall Guys, number 4, The Pathless, number 5, Bug Snacks, number 6, John Wick Hex, number 7, Ghost Runner, number 8, Streets of Rage, number 9, Under Night in Birth, number 10, Superliminal. There are 54 games total on the list. Where do we put the Complex?
That's a good question.
Oh god, there's so many things on this list.
It's probably further down. It's probably somewhere in the middle, I bet, looking at this list.
There it is, 44. You put it at 44.
Oh damn, that's really low. That's really low.
Yeah, you hate
out of 54.
Yeah, you fucking hated this game. Just destroyed it.
I put it under Space Channel 5 VR kind of funky newsflash.
Look at you hating this game.
I feel like that might have been a mistake by me.
I'm gonna put 5 dates right there. I'm gonna put it right below the Complex.
Cool.
Because again, I played an hour or 2. No, it's like 2 hours. The Complex, right?
Complex, yeah, it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, I played half of it. I played like an hour of that one, and I'd be more compelled to go back and finish that than go finish 5 dates. I don't need no more dates. All right.
Speak for yourself.
Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Greg Miller.
At what else we have on the show here, and where I want to go is simple. To hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODE. Last week, ladies and gentlemen, we introduced this segment. Kevin, I'm going to need you on the links here. And basically, the idea was
having some minor technical difficulties.
Well, don't worry, I'll talk it through. Don't click on anything yet.
I'm just saying it's logged me out, and I'm back in. All good.
Last week, one of you wrote in and said, it'd be cool if you guys did a photo mode thing where people could send in their photo modes and you could pick photo modes you like. And I said, that's a great idea. Blessing and I will alternate doing it each week, meaning that for week 1, I decided I would go through and pick it. The way to get entered is simple. On Twitter, tweet your screenshots from the PlayStation 5 with the hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODE, all one word. We will then go through every week, look through what we like, and then we will pick a winner. Now, for this first one, It's just me. Blessing will get to tell you what game it'll be next time. I said for this one, since it's the first one ever, go do whatever you want to do. Just send it in. No big deal. I do want to point out that we're going to get into the second runner-up. I picked 3 things. I have 2 runners-up and 1 winner. What do you win? Absolutely fucking nothing. But you get to be mentioned on the show and everybody has a good time. So, though, but what I want to point out is there's Last of Us Part 2 spoilers for our second runner-up. So if you want to skip this segment altogether, if there are fucking time codes on this episode, it's always hit or miss. You can skip this segment altogether. But for the second runner-up here, we'll have it. Not the first runner-up, the second one. Everybody still in? Everybody doing their thing? Great. So if you click on runner-up number 1 there, Kevin, we're going to Albino Rhino Gaming. Just this lovely image. There it is. Of Ellie. I like this screenshot. I'm grabbing Ellie looking in the mirror here in Last of Us Part 2, right? The dirty mirror.
Wow,
girl.
that's without ray tracing.
Questioning her life. You know, she doesn't know what's going on. Indeed. So you're a runner-up, Albino Rhino Games. Congratulations.
I also like what they're doing with focus here, where they're in focus for the reflection. Yeah, but not like the actual.
Yeah, Ellie's head itself is
the back of Ellie's head looking at the mirror is out of focus, which has this cool look to it.
It is. Great job, Albino Rhino Gaming. We appreciate you. Next one is Nick. I am Royank. Now, this is the one with the spoiler for Last of Us Part 2. Now, again, I threw it up this year or this time around and said, do whatever you want. Do whatever game you want or whatever. So Nick here went and got multiple things, which I appreciate. We will now point out for future hashtag PSILOVEPHOTOMODEs. You need to only send in 1 photo. All right, Blessing?
Okay. So multiples not allowed, huh?
We're killing multiples, yeah. Okay. But I do like that what Nick did here is it has a motif going. So as we start here, of course, Jin Sakai, Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, I like
you click
that.
over 1 more, Ellie and a baby. I won't spoil anything in case you got here and you didn't listen to me and you stuck around. But Ellie and a baby. Again, though, if you're an audio listener, Jin bathed in sunlight. Ellie also bathed in sunlight here. It looks like a setting sun or a rising sun. Give it 1 more. Spider-Man remaster.
Oh.
Sun rising over New York, it looks like here. Just Spidey's
this is great use of color here.
Right? Yeah. And then the final one for this motif. Again, Ellie out there in the fields in the sun. I like this a lot. I like the motif. Again, I'm not punishing you for using multiples. I'm just saying from here on out, no more multiples. But
I especially like that Spider-Man one. The Spider-Man one looks great. Yeah, look at this, because like it goes from for audio listeners, right? It moves from basically blue into orangish, reddish. It kind of has like a cool juxtaposition against Spider-Man's costume with the color theming. It's very good.
And then though, for our first winner of all time, we're going to Red Devil Raj. Red Devil Raj over here has a 2-fer as well. He is doing Miles Morales Spider-Man. First one here is just a straight on shot. Spider-Man Miles Morales in his hoodie, mask on there. I like the blue light here. I thought accentuated. Completely black behind his head or whatever. So you're just really getting pulled into the visuals. And then Kevin, if you click 1 more over, again, this profile shot of Spider-Man Miles Morales from back here, blacked out in the background, a nice blue and red light on him there. I just thought these were beautiful and simple. Blessing.
Yeah, I like these too. These are very good. I think this is a good winner.
Good. Red Devil Raj, congratulations on being the first winner of hashtag PSILovePhotoMode. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, for you to enter, go to Twitter, put up 1 photo from your game, hashtag PSILovePhotoMode. Blessing, Adeoye Jr., you're on deck. What do you want next week's challenge to be?
Oh man, I've not thought too hard about this, but you know what? I'm gonna go Death Stranding.
Whoa!
I've seen some very good photos of Death Stranding in the past, and I want to see what people can do with that game.
I appreciate that one. That's a good one to grab. That's a good one you don't expect to see this late in the game, you know?
I know.
Blessing. We have a segment we call Trophies and Chill. This is usually where people send in their PSN profiles asking us to go through and look through and give them an old look-see and say, hey, this is good. Hey, that's bad. Get out of here. You're a stinky bean. But we're not doing that kind of today. We got a question to start with. We'll start with Ian writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Says, hello, Greg and Bless. I love all that you do. Got a trophy question for you guys, mostly Greg. You ever try to make your platinum screenshot something cool? I recently got the platinum for Astro, and if I had actually paid attention to the trophies, I could have timed it so Astro was holding the in-game platinum, and it could have been my platinum trophy. But alas, I try not to spoil most of the time, so I was looking, I wasn't looking and got a bad trophy picture. Thanks again. Happy holidays. Stay safe, Ian. All the time, Ian. But it's hard because it's most time you're at the game's mercy, right? Again, one of the things Days Gone did so well was actually making it so your trophies look fucking great when they pop. When you'd get that automatic screenshot, a lot of them were designed to hang on very specific screens, so it would look cinematic and look cool, and not be you mid swing of the camera and fucking garbage all over the screen. You know what I mean? Blessing, I hate that shit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Whenever I do get a platinum, I do try to like pose it a little bit, but what inevitably happens is there's like an animation going, or like some dumb cutscene happens, or a load screen, or something fucks it up, and so I don't get too angry when it happens. Somebody did send to, I think, multiple of us a video of them doing the platinum thing, like in Astrobot, like grabbing the platinum trophy as they're getting the platinum trophy, and I saw that and I was like, that is genius. That is really cool. I am jealous that I didn't do that. And the fact that you can have it so that it captures video too now, like, I think even more amplified. Like, oh yeah, like that's really awesome that you got that that footage. That's cool.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's what I think is such a nice solution of the trophy videos that I'm such a fan of, is the idea that, yeah, now it's no longer just going to be like a loading screen, right? It might be, but putting a little bit of time on it, you get a little bit of the actual in-game mechanic of what you're getting to have a little bit more celebration than just like
how you got there.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say I turned off the video.
You're such
just
a
because, like,
monster.
I feel like it takes up like space.
No, that's what everybody worries about, and nobody, you know, I'm the one. You're not even doing that many things. You can go in there, you clean it out. Wouldn't you rather have it than not have it? What are you hiding on psnprofiles.com/merc64? Just tell us.
God of War Ragnarok.
Oh my God.
I have it. You'll have your review in 2021.
Oh my God. He's going to make us wait for it.
Yeah.
Then we have a congratulations here to Ryan. Ryan writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Just like you can. It says, hello, Greg and Blessing. Adeoye Jr. I don't know if you boys remember me, but I wrote back in February for PSN profiling. I made the outlandish claim in the segment that I would reach 200 platinums in 2020, requiring 18 total for the year. Well, I write into you both today to tell you the fabulous news that I have reached my goal, Bug Snacks, for number 200 to mark the occasion. Now, I had intended on earning a number of platinum trophies that you will not see on my list if you were going to go back and compare. And I did say that they would not all be Radalika Plats, but I snuck in a few cheap and easy ones in there to appease the trophy gods. Anyway, I wanted to say thanks to the best friends who added me, chatted with me, and helped me earn some of the more difficult trophies, or those who just wanted to follow along. Hope you guys had a relaxing PS5 filled break. Take care. Ryan Chenard Dizzle. Chenard Dizzle. I guess it's Chenard Dizzle.
Chenardizzle.
It's Ryan, though, and he's from the February episode of PS I Love You. And I've checked, I've verified here, he does in fact have 200 platinum trophies. So round of applause. You did it, even getting all the trophies in Snaky Bus.
Oh.
Gotta love it. You gotta love and appreciate it there. Look at that.
Did you try to get the platinum in Snaky Bus when you played?
I mean, I always work towards it on those crappy little games. Not crappy, you know what I mean? Little games.
Snaky Bus is awesome.
It was the thing of, I forget how close I am. There was some trophy in there. I was like, that's going to be annoying. And I didn't do it for some reason. I'm looking at his trophies now to try to figure out which one it was.
Snaky Bus is a good time. I like that they had a Seattle level, and it reminded me of Seattle. Like, it was Starbucks everywhere. Which is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. Let me see what I'm short on Snaky Bus. Here it is. I'm short 5 trophies. Yeah, it's this get a bunch of segments here. They get 420 segments for the Blaze It trophy. I was like, I don't know. Never did it. So I suck. That's what it comes down to.
So you're saying his trophies don't matter?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I didn't want to prioritize my time to playing Snaky Bus. Now, I'd love to know what you're prioritizing your time on, but you hide it from me.
I got Horizon Forbidden West.
God damn.
Playing it. I'm reviewing
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, don't listen to his lies. This is PS I Love You XOXO. Each and every week, Blessing and I come together to nerd out about all things PlayStation. You can watch that show early, live as we record it on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. Over on patreon.com/kindafunnygames, you can write in with your own questions. You can get on the show. You can get it ad-free. And of course, you can get the post show we're about to do. That's right, exclusively on patreon.com/kindafunnygames. However, if you don't want to go to get the post show and support us, no big deal. You can stay on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every Tuesday to get an episode, no post show, and ads. But that's just the trade-off, man. That's how it's got to be, you know? Blessing.
Greg.
You're going to be looking for hashtag PS I love photo mode for Death Stranding next week. That's your job.
Yep.
Your job is also to unblock your trophies for us.
But if I do that, people will know that I'm playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
You and I both know those trophies wouldn't be on the servers yet, so it would be fine.
He got
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do, but until next time, no. It's been our pleasure to serve you.